I'll let anybody do it and I'll just stay on mute. That's a great one.
Okay, you're live.
Okay, let's call to order the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District regular meeting for May 25th. City Attorney, you have the floor.
Good evening. The procedures adopted for this meeting meet or exceed the standards set forth in Governor Newsom's Order N-25-20, which allows this public meeting to be held by teleconference to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And now, Madam Clerk, please conduct the roll call, and I'll ask the chair to recognize me afterward as I have a few items to confirm for the record.
Board Member Armstrong.
Here.
Board Member Burrows.
Here.
Board Member Zafar.
Here.
Vice Chair Perkins.
Here.
And Chair Hudson.
Here, recognize the City Attorney again.
Thank you. Based on the responses to roll call, the record should reflect that all board members can hear the proceedings clearly. And if there are no objections, the record will further reflect that each board member is certain that persons representing themselves to be board members tonight are in fact board members. And seeing no objections, I will turn the meeting back over to the chair with a reminder that all votes must be taken by roll call.
Thank you. To our City Clerk, are there any announcements that we have to make?
None this evening.
Seeing none, public comment is now open. Members of the audience are encouraged to address the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District on any non-agenda item. Members of the public who are participating via Zoom will have the opportunity to make comments to the board live through the Zoom application. Comments from the public under public comment may also be submitted by mail, which we did have tonight. No board action can be taken at this time on issues raised during public comment, whether submitted by email or Zoom. The public comment emails, of course, that wasn't for public comment, that was for the item. Okay, we're doing real well tonight. If you wish to speak under public comment on this item, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom or dial *9 on your telephone. When it's your turn to talk, we will call upon you by name if provided. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes per person. I'm looking to see. We have 2 attendees. The clock will be running on the Zoom screen. The speaker's microphone will be muted once the allotted time has expired. Anyone wishing to speak? Those guys look very familiar. I don't think they want to speak. Okay, public comment is closed. Approval of the minutes is before us. Anyone want to make an addition, correction, or motion?
I can
I'll move the minutes.
Nope. Zafar got in there first, Perkins second. Any discussion? Nobody jumping up. Roll call vote, please.
Board Member Armstrong.
Yes.
Board Member Burrows.
Yes.
Board Member Zafar.
Aye.
Vice Chair Perkins.
Yes.
And Chair Hudson.
Yes, sounds like 5-0 to me. There are no consent calendar items tonight. New business, public hearing, resolution Dougherty Valley GHAD number 2021-5. This is the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District. Good. Adopt a resolution confirming and levying the assessments for the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District for fiscal year 2021-22 and adopting the fiscal year 2021-22 Dougherty Valley GHAD budget. You're asking for a resolution or an approval of resolution 2021-5. Robin, are you still here? Robin Barton, staff report.
Well, good evening again. So the item before you is to hold a public hearing regarding the 2021-2022 annual assessment and adoption of a resolution confirming and levying the assessment for the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District for fiscal year 2021-2022 and adopting the 2021-2022 budget. At the last GHAD meeting on April 27th, the GHAD board accepted the 2021-2022 engineers report and adopted a resolution of intention to order assessments for the GHAD and setting a public hearing on the assessments for today. So the most notable items in the engineers report was that it's been a very dry year and therefore no landslides or other new events have been noted within the GHAD. The Cami Court landslide is essentially complete with that repair. And staff is anticipating accepting additional open space this year from Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers has indicated that they would like to turn over all of the open space, but we'll see what actually materializes. The anticipated GAD reserve as of the end of fiscal year 2022 will be $10.7 million. Updated analysis indicates that no assessment increase is required this year. Therefore, the intended assessment will be the same as last year at $181.69 per residential unit per year and approximately 5.8 cents per square foot for non-residential building space. Total of 9,189 notices were mailed. Other than the comments received by the clerk, no other calls or emails were received by the staff. Staff recommends that the Board of Directors conduct the public hearing and consider adoption of Resolution GAD number 2021-005, confirming and levying the assessment for fiscal year 2021-22 for the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District. Are there any questions?
Okay, starting with Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yes, Robin, you mentioned that the Cami Court work is complete. So have we settled all the issues with the homeowners and done all the repairs necessary for the Cami Court slide?
The work is essentially complete, meaning that the substantial repairs necessary for the landslide repair has been completed. There is some ongoing assessments being made on the private properties. The majority of the repairs that we deem necessary have been completed. In some cases, those were completed by residents, and the GAD has reimbursed the residents for the repairs they undertook. There is also some additional repairs and really environmental enhancements that the GAD was undertaking in the fill receiving area that we would like to do some additional work. That includes some signage of what we're doing. But also because of the drought, we really haven't seen some of the take with some of the vegetation we planted. So I anticipate that we'll do some additional seeding out there and other enhancements to really try and get that to become what we wanted it to become. So there's some minor additional work.
The street, curb, gutter, and sidewalk, is that all repaired out on Cami Court?
Yes, and actually those repairs were undertaken even before the landslide. Although unfortunately, the DSRSD has done some utility work out there and thus done some damage to our newly microsurface streets. So we're going to be out there again at DSRSD's expense doing some additional work.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no questions from Armstrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say we did make a significant effort to preserve a habitat for a certain frog, I remember. Are we going to put signage there that says that this is the habitat for?
Yeah, we would like to have some signage in the receiving area, either at the pedestrian gate that's near there or along the trail, explaining what we have done in a variety of ways and some of the other habitat enhancements that we've done.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no further questions, we will open the public hearing. If you wish to speak under public comment on this item, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom or dial *9 on your telephone. When it's your turn to talk, we'll call upon you by name, if provided. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes and a clock will be running on the Zoom screen. The speaker's microphone will be muted once the allotted time has expired. I do believe we have I don't see anybody attendees wanting to speak. We have two, you said, speakers wishing to speak to this. Did you wish to read them?
Yes, I'll read. I received 3 written comments for this item. I'll go ahead and start with the first one. The first one is from Nick Sood. Please, I ask you to reevaluate spending and to use the fees that you are already getting. I also want to remind you about the vast number of new houses purchased in San Ramon, which you are getting huge taxes, and it makes no sense to have an additional annualized fee that will be over $180 more per year. So please ask council members to vote against this fee. Thank you. The next, I received identical letters from both Michelle Kosich and Jeff Kosich, and I will read one. I want my comments entered into public comments of the hearing. I am against the fiscal year 2021-2022 assessment for the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District. The City Council should require new developer in the Dougherty Valley to include the DV-GAD in the cost of their homes or the cost of their HOA and not burden the community of Old Ranch Summit and West Branch area. The City Council should be funding the abatement fully from the reserves and should be doing their diligence, keeping up with the costs associated with this service. Asking owners for an additional assessment is wrong. If the council needs to do a more frequent reserve study to keep on top of the costs, they should be more mindful to do so versus taking the easy way out and charging us an assessment. Balance your budget and spend within the funds you receive and be better stewards of the reserve funds. And that was all the public written comment that I've received.
Okay, if there's no further comments, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I can move to close the public hearing.
Okay, motion Zafar, second Perkins under mute. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing
I
none.
want to make one comment.
Okay, go ahead.
For benefit of the public. I did receive a hearing notice for public hearing on this one, and there is a print highlighted saying that the proposed FY 21-22 assessment has no increase. I think people are not looking at that. They are reading it as an additional burden of 181. I think that's what they're looking at as additional increase, but they need to look at that highlighted statement. Hopefully they'll read that and figure out that there is no increase for this financial year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote on closing the public hearing.
Board Member Armstrong,
Yes.
Board Member Burrows,
Yes.
Board Member Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Chair Perkins,
Yes.
and Chair Hudson.
Yes, 5-0. Okay, the member, what's before us is the motion to accept a resolution that hasn't been made yet. Are there any comments before we go to that motion? Seeing nobody jump forward. Who hasn't? Mark, you want to do one? You haven't been out there all day.
Well, actually, I was playing around with my mute button here. I did have a question that came up, and that was with respect to Old Ranch Summit on how that little piece is included in this area. And I don't know the history of how all that came to be, but how is that area included with the rest of the GAD there?
Robin?
Yeah, happy to address that. I think that a part of the confusion may arrive from the name that we are now using of the Dougherty Valley GAD, which we adopted to try and minimize confusion when we created the Northwest San Ramon GAD to distinguish between the two. Prior to that, it simply used its number, but because the overwhelming a number of residents are in the Dougherty Valley, we decided on the Dougherty Valley GAD. The Old Ranch area and the West Branch areas have always been part of the GAD. In fact, the GAD started as just the West Branch area. And when the Old Ranch Summit area was developed, it was a condition of approval of the development that they either form some new mechanism similar to the GAD or annex into the GAD, and they chose to annex into the GAD. So it has been part of the GAD since prior to the sale of any homes.
Okay, all right.
Goes back to the 90s, I think. Anyway,
so
go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution confirming and levying the assessments of the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District for FY 21-22 and adopting the FY 21-22 Dougherty Valley GAD budget.
We have a motion Armstrong, second Perkins. Further discussion? Don't see, I can read Sabina. She's not in. Sridhar, you got more? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Board Member Armstrong,
Yes.
Board Member Veros,
Yes.
Board Member Zafar,
Aye.
Vice Chair Perkins,
Yes.
and Chair Hudson.
Yes,
Thank you.
sounds
5-0.
5-0 to me. Okay, then we are adjourned to the next meeting of the Dougherty Valley Geologic Hazard Abatement District Board, which will be scheduled by the board chair at a time and date to be determined. We're supposed to start at 7. I say we take about 5, give you a chance to get over there in case anybody needs to do something before we get started. And we'll see you at the